we like to think that we understand the dynamics of the crashes better than many experts, and certainly better than other lawyers who are competing with us, who don't ride, who haven't ridden their whole life, and who haven't handled thousands of motorcycle accidents.
If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, what should you look for in an attorney? Today, we're talking with Claude Wyle. He is going to tell us his insight on exactly what to do on this episode of Ask the Lawyers. Claude, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Christine. I really appreciate it. And I want to say, sorry about not having any pictures on the walls. And if you see any packing boxes in the office, my office just recommitted to San Francisco, and we got a new office down the street from the old one, and we signed a lease. And I want to say, for those of you who think San Francisco is a dying city, it's not. It's a wonderful city. We have worked here and represented the people of San Francisco and Northern California for decades, and we renew our commitment to those people.
How are motorcycle cases different from other types of cases, whether it's personal injury or motor vehicles?
Okay, well, that's not a short question, Christine, because there's so many differences between motorcycle crash cases and, let's say, regular auto crash cases. First of all, the dynamics of a motorcycle crash are very different. This is a two-wheel vehicle. It's capable of attaining speeds much quicker than a car. It leans to turn. It brakes, and the weight changes when it brakes. There's so many different things you have to know. At Cholas & Wyle, my partner, George Cholas, and I have been riding for about 45 years. We are avid bicyclists as well, and we're avid motorcycle riders. We've taken all the safety courses. We've done all the track days that you can do around here. As a matter of fact, my paralegal, John, is a motorcycle safety instructor. And for a bonus, we actually got our paralegal, Faye, a scooter. So we are committed to the two-wheel world, the two-wheel community. And we represent many of the shop owners and mechanics around town and around Northern California. We like to think that we understand the dynamics of the crashes better than many experts, and certainly better than other lawyers who are competing with us, who don't ride, who haven't ridden their whole life, and who haven't handled thousands of motorcycle accidents. More important, we like to say that we have an advantage over the insurance company's lawyers, the defense lawyers. We know all about motorcycle crashes, and they have to play catch up. Now, so first thing, that's the dynamics. Second thing, the injuries are usually much more severe. We have a small boutique office. We do not have a big volume practice. We are able to deal with the more serious injuries that motorcycle riders usually sustain because they aren't protected by a bunch of steel, by a cage around them. Motorcycle riders do often sustain serious, if not catastrophic, injuries, and you need to understand how to handle a serious injury case and a catastrophic injury case. The preparation for these cases is about tenfold compared to your average minor injury case.
It's very clear you've always been an advocate for road safety. Can you give us some insight and tips on what to buy when it comes to safe equipment?
Well, first of all, get the newest, latest, greatest helmet you can get. If your helmet is more than 5 years old and you've been out there, I hate to say it, it may have been a $1,000 helmet with beautiful graphics. Get yourself a new helmet. New helmets have new technology. You've got electronics that are doing fantastic things. We've got smart helmets. I did a little interview with you guys a couple of months ago on smart helmets, and they're just fantastic. There's all sorts of things to help you navigate, to help you be safer, to help you understand if there's somebody in your blind spot. Helmets are number one. You always have to wear gloves. You should always wear protective gear, even if it's a hot day. Yeah, we're in California and it gets pretty warm, but you've got to wear the protective gear. I've had so many clients who've suffered much worse injuries than they had to because they weren't wearing all the protective gear. When we go out, it's either in Kevlar, fully padded, or in leather with all the padding, all the armor you can possibly get, and fantastic boots to protect your feet as well. It's so important. I'm sorry if it's not as comfortable on a hot day, but it's much better if in the event that something bad happens, you really need the gear.
Good insight. So if somebody's looking for legal representation, what questions should they ask?
Well, I like to think that communication is the key. Our clients come to us in most of the time their very worst situation that they've had in their life. Sometimes the worst situation they'll ever have in their life. And they need someone they can talk to. They need someone who will pay attention to them. At Cholas, Cholas & Wyle, the partners pick up the phone. Our paralegals have been with us for 20 years each. They're vastly experienced. And if you call me, you'll get a call back within 24 hours. If I'm somewhere in trial and I can't get back to you within 24 hours, I'll have somebody who knows what's going on in your file call you back. And so will my partner, George. You get to talk to the partner who's handling your case. In too many of the big firms throughout this state, they advertise and they get 100 calls a day, and they have people who don't know anything about the law picking up the phone and going through their checklist. You get to talk to a lawyer when you call us. I think that's a huge difference. If you want to go to a big firm that handles thousands of cases at a time, that's up to you. If you want to go to more of a boutique firm that takes less calls, that takes less clients, but really dives in deeply and is willing to fight for you and fight for the details and learn about the details and care about you, then you go to a smaller firm. You go to lawyers who actually talk to you. I think that's the number one. Also, you want to look at the experience that the lawyers have. With motorcycle cases, you're not going to get anybody more experienced than my partner, George, and myself. We've been riding since we were 12, and we still are riding. We're still doing track days. We still love motorcycling, and we really seek to support the motorcycle community. That means the shop owners, the mechanics, as well as the riders, mostly the riders. Our experience is deep and vast, and I think we have an advantage. You want to find out what kind of experience your lawyer has with your kind of case. If it's a medical malpractice case, I think you would go to somebody else. We don't really handle medical malpractice cases, but if it has anything to do with two wheels, a motorcycle or a bicycle, or a pedestrian injury, you've come to the right place when you come to us.
Claude Wyle, some great insight for us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Christine. We'll be here if you need us.
And that's going to do it for today's episode of Ask the Lawyer. You heard from Claude Wyle. If you have specific information on your case, call the number there on your screen. Thank you for joining us for this latest episode of Ask the Lawyers. I'm Christine Haas.